I'm Ron Gallagher at Maximum Velocity Physical Therapy, and you're listening to HYPERSPEED Radio. You don't have to live in pain, whether you're running, swimming, playing a team sport, or just everyday fitness. We bridge a gap between medicine and strength and conditioning to help you break through at MVPT. What's up, everybody? This is Ron from HYPERSPEED Radio. We are coming to you live from Sticky Paw Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where, George, it is freezing outside.
It was a blizzard outside when I drove here.
What in the world is happening?
I have no clue.
It's like
Global warming?
The weirdest winter, I think, since I can remember.
Yeah. I've never seen it this snowy and then 65, 70 degrees.
Yeah.
And then snowy.
It can't even make up its mind.
Nope.
But anyway, we're in Las Vegas, and Maximum Velocity Physical Therapy is the spot right next door to Sticky Paws right here. Today's topic is an update on arm care. And what I'm really figuring out is arm care might be my entire life's work, which is a really weird thing to say, but I am quickly becoming, if not the already expert on arm care. What if I told you that everything you know about arm care is outdated and not accurate? Now, when I say arm care, I mean if you're a baseball player, softball player, swimmer, volleyball, mixed martial arts, those 5 have really been what I've been dealing with the most lately. And the way that these sports are taking care of their arms and elbows is absolutely atrocious. When I say atrocious, I mean the rates of injuries are dramatically increasing and staying bad. And the way that professionals all the way down to youth is addressing it is literally poor. It's terrible. And the need for the understanding of how to take care of these problems is really where I'm spending a lot of my time these days. I want to tell a story about my man JJ. I met JJ as a high school pitcher who was getting ready to shut his senior season down because he could not get away from his shoulder and elbow pain. He went on to play college baseball, has since decided to take a gap year away from baseball and work on his velocity only with plans to go back to college baseball. He reached out to me because he is going to a really, really major, big deal place in baseball called Driveline. Driveline is a professional player-owned company that is specializing in helping overhead athletes throw with more velocity. So he's actually at Driveline, and he texted me because his shoulder hurts. He was really frustrated because he got reprimanded for his workouts outside of their training. And what he was doing was the arm care that I have prescribed to him for years. And he's been pain-free since high school, since we eliminated his pain in high school. Had an amazing season. The place made him go to physical therapy that wasn't anywhere near what he needed. They didn't even give him any shoulder exercises. So then he called me and he knew that he needed some more help with his shoulder. the amount of throws that he was making at the velocities that he was making without adequate arm care is really where he started to get into trouble. And they wanted him to rest. They wanted him to see their PT, and they wanted to shut him down for a couple of weeks. But he was able to show them that he could throw pain-free. He was able to get back to a normal program. And now he is, after one session over the phone, he was able to return to full throwing. And I just got a text from him a couple of days ago. His velocity is the most it's been ever. And he was able to get the updated version of the arm care program, and now he's back on full appropriate arm care. So this is the quintessential place for these pitchers to go, and their arm care program does not match what we're doing at maximum velocity. Here's a couple of baseball. Wait. Yeah, here's a couple of baseball. Well, before we get into that, so what we've been doing, and I've been really utilizing my students for this, is diving deep into research and trying to use research as a way to help understand what we should be doing with what we're doing. So this paper right here, printed it out, is the 2022 Berne Consensus Statement on Shoulder Injury Prevention, Rehabilitation, and Return to Sport for Athletes of All Participation Levels. This is a review article where they actually took 100 studies that are current and added up all the information to figure out what is the best thing to do for arm care. And the principles that we utilize at maximum velocity have everything to do with what is current research and not just reinventing the wheel. There have been no studies to justify the use of rubber bands in the last 10 or 20 years. None. There's no increase in strength. There's no increase in activation. There's no benefit to warm up. There's no benefit to performance. There's literally no benefit whatsoever to using rubber bands. And yet, professional athletes, all the way down to youth, are utilizing these bands exclusively as their arm care. I'm following a bunch of TikToks. It's driving me crazy that these really, really high-level people are delivering arm care routines that have absolutely no effect. So when I say that the information is outdated and not accurate, what's happening is professional and college athletes think this is the gold standard for how you take care of your arm. They're definitely putting in the work with what they think they should be doing, and then they're selling that to the youth. And then so everybody's getting this feeling that this is the best thing to do for all of those problems like arm care. Well, it's really not. And I'm trying to do with my social media more of what you should be doing and less of don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. But it's so complicated, and it's a progression from tier 1 to tier 3. It's literally 2 or 3 weeks in each tier, that it's 6 weeks worth of exercises that can't just be delivered in a 1-minute reel or a 3-minute TikTok. So I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to deliver this information so that it's useful, but at the same time, not give away all of my details. But we're going to go through the sports, and let's talk about some really important statistics. In baseball, for this consensus report, the main thing that I got from this is the importance of work capacity. Now, it's a really complicated topic because the only way to describe it is to use big words. But essentially, work capacity is the arm's ability to tolerate stress. And if we have a tremendous amount of force moving through the shoulder and you don't have adequate strength in the shoulder and an adaptation to heavy loads in the rotator cuff specifically, then when those high velocities come, you don't have the ability to tolerate the stress. So what's happening is the rubber bands are under preparing, and the loads that these athletes are using are more than what they can tolerate, and then they get themselves in trouble. Well, the exercise progression, that's like probably more than 6 weeks long, is how we condition the connective tissue, not just the muscle and the tendon, but the connective tissue to be able to tolerate high velocities. So work capacity was proven to be the most effective way to treat these types of problems when we compare them to dry needles or ice or heat or any of those other modalities. It really proved all the things that we're doing here at maximum velocity. Okay, baseball. 74% of youth baseball players, that's 16 years or younger, report arm pain, and 46% of those said that their coaches or their parents encouraged them to play anyway. 85% of pitchers report pain who play year-round and have a pitching coach. So why that boggles my mind is you have probably a former player, somebody who has spent many, many years on the biomechanics of how to throw that ball hard. And these athletes are being coached year-round, playing year-round by the best position coaches, and 85% of them have shoulder pain. So that means that the older generations that are taking on these newer generations are not teaching these kids how to protect their shoulders. In 1995, there was 0 reported cases of Tommy John surgery in baseball players. Obviously, well, to the orthopedic people out there, the surgery was very, very brand new then. But no youth baseball players were complaining of this much elbow pain that they need their shoulder operated on. In 2015, 25% of baseball players, or specifically pitchers, get Tommy John surgery. That's 1 in 4. 1 in 4 youth pitchers need Tommy John surgery because of the elbow pain. And yet I put on my TikTok that rubber band exercises are dumb and people lose their mind. People, we are under preparing these shoulders in a big, major way. Moving on to softball, which is interesting because 78% of pitchers who play travel ball year-round with pitching coaches report substantial shoulder pain. So whether you're baseball, which is a whole different set of people, or softball, another completely different set of people, 78% of underhand fast pitch pitchers report pain in their shoulder. Now, that's supposedly a safe way to pitch, and yet we're finding statistically that it's actually not the case. That is definitely a myth. These athletes need to be protected, and softball is really, really underserved. There are very, very few really, really talented, educated coaches out there compared to baseball. So we really need to step our softball game up. 1/3 of pitchers who pitch year round miss time because of shoulder pain. And the most commonly injured body part in softball is the shoulder, and the same thing for baseball. So we have a huge issue of arm care in baseball and softball, and we don't have anybody to stand up and say, what we're doing is a problem and we need to do something about it, at least from where I sit. All right. Now, moving on to swimming. Swimming has a lot of injuries with club swimmers with regard to how much mileage they're swimming. But the major way that they would avoid it is a dry land program. So I really spend a lot of time analyzing dry land programs. And here's what we know. This is not my opinion. This is facts. Dry land programs that emphasize body weight exercises only have no change in swim performance and no change in injury rates. So they get hurt just as often. Dryland programs that utilize rubber bands, especially mimicking swimming, have an increase in performance, but also an increase in incidence of shoulder injuries. If you make a repetitive activity more repetitive and you add to the contacts of the hand in the water, you're obviously making it more frequent. So you're adding on to the mileage that these athletes are swimming. And the dry land programs that offer resistance, especially heavy in weights, in sets and reps that are 5 to 8 that are heavy, have tremendously decreased injury rates, like ridiculously low injury rates. And their performance is skyrocketed. So it's very clear, it's very cut and dry in research what the best dry land program is. The problem for swimmers is they swim so damn much that they never leave the pool. And parents who, are doing what their coaches tell them mean that they got to swim 6 days a week. So when are they going to fit in their dry land program? If the club itself doesn't offer a strength-based dry land program, then it's literally a waste of time. So logistically, getting somewhere for a dry land program is really what they're faced with. And I'm trying to come up with some alternatives for them. But I want to tell the story of Olivia. Olivia and I have been working together for about 4 years now. And she started 2 clubs ago. So she's on her 3rd club. 2nd club. I think she only changed once. She started out with no shoulder pain, no back pain, no knee pain, no nothing. And then over the years, she leveled up and leveled up and leveled up and leveled up and leveled up. Now she moved on to a club that has an Olympic group. She's in the B group. So the previous club, the coach told her she's so short she'll never swim fast. And so it lit the biggest fire under her butt, and she worked her butt off. And she was coming 2 times a week with a really solid strength program, arm care program, and in the last 4 years has had 0 shoulder injuries. She had a bump in mileage up now 3 times as she's leveled up into new groups. And now she's dropping time. She's always dropped time, and she's dropping enough time to be considered by major Division Ones, big time Division One swimming, sub Olympic group. So as her mileage has increased, her dry land has also increased, and the particular club that she's in offers a dry land program, but they do sets and reps that are 8 to 15, and nothing is heavy. So nothing is heavy. And so she essentially uses the club's dry land program as active recovery, and then comes to the clinic once, maybe twice a week, and actually gets underneath a really heavy load. The load has always been progressed appropriately, but her arm care program has always been more stress than what stress she handles when she swims. And she's literally had 0 pain. Now, in the time that she's moved up from this new club, 5 athletes in her group out of 12 dropped out due to arm pain. All 5, arm pain. And Olivia's never had 1 pain, and she meets all of her interval times in her practice, and nobody else does. So it's clear that a dry land program that offers resistance, especially shoulder resistance, is optimum for pain relief and performance. We had a decision to make because she already, this club already has a dry land program. Should we rest? Should we, do this other program? Well, we decided that we were going to just use it as active recovery until it became more of a bigger stress that was taken away. We were not going to freak out about it. So we just let her stay in there. And I'm hoping to get on with this club and help them understand where they're missing and what they can do better. And hopefully we can work together, and maybe I can even work up into this Olympic group, because the amount of injuries in there is astronomical. Okay, volleyball. The most commonly injured joint in volleyball is the shoulder, but it's really close with the knee. So volleyball has a lot of knee as well. 40% of the athletes who report shoulder pain don't get it resolved, meaning the whole time that they play volleyball, they have pain. So what that tells me is that the coaches are not moving them into programs where they can get better and come back, or doing something at practice to eliminate their pain. I like to tell the story of Kate. When Kate reported to me, she was obviously built for volleyball. And it's easy to look at her and say, she's just tall. She ended up at 6'4". She wasn't 6'4" when we started. We've been working together maybe 3 or 4 years. Shoulder pain, elbow pain, back pain, knee pain, ankle pain, living with all this pain as she played club volleyball. Put her on an adequate arm care program, put her on an adequate strength program, eliminated all of her pain, cleaned her biomechanics up over the course of 4 years. She also has a tremendous drive to be good. And she played for multiple clubs, had the highest level coaches, the best clubs in Vegas, in Nevada, the best clubs in Arizona. So she's had some really high level coaches. She became pain-free and got really strong. And then all of a sudden her armpit is above the net. Like, that's an insane amount of height. And she was a Under Armour All-American, and she actually got second in the vertical jump test or competition that they had at the Under Armour Games. So she just competed for a spot on the United States collegiate national team. So we're waiting to hear back from that. I really hope she did well enough to make that team, because she's an amazing person and amazing athlete. But her arm care program, I mean, she strikes the ball. You know, if her armpit is above the net, the place that she strikes the ball is so insane. And she was really like one of the first people where I really started to realize how powerful these tools are. And so the point is if we cross train with more load than what we put on them in practice, and they can rise to the occasion and continue to adapt and continue to play pain-free and continue to take sets and just keep jumping and keep jumping and keep jumping and keep hitting and keep hitting. Her serve is ridiculous. The spikes trajectory is straight down. I mean, it's astronomical. But it comes down to a strength program with resistance, especially in the shoulder. My latest is mixed martial arts. I have 3 in the UFC right now. And when I really wanted to dive in on what the injuries were happening in mixed martial arts, and the most common injury reported in the UFC is wrist injuries. So I thought that was interesting, because if we think about wrist injuries in a punching sport, it's the same reason why there's foot injuries in runners. That's the place where we make contact. So if we really think about how the shoulder is loaded in that position, it's the same reason why gymnasts get wrist pain. If your shoulder can't stabilize the arm, when the impact is made on the most further away segment, the most distal segment, that thing rattles. And it's really an arm care issue that there's lots and lots of wrist injuries with striking and shoulder pain. I recently had the experience of having a athlete in the clinic. The athlete weighs 140 pounds. A normal push press for a professional mixed martial artist should be around 70% of that person's body weight. So that means 98 pounds is what's normal. The athlete was able to push press 65 pounds. That means a third to 2/3 of this person's shoulder strength was not available for striking. So it's crazy to me that somebody in the professional fight game would have that substantial of shoulder weakness. And if you have a look at some of these athletes, you think that there's not an impairment on them. I'm here to tell you that proper strength programs that include stability and strength that work together as a unit is not happening even at that level. So it's imperative that we get on exercise programs, that especially shoulder care programs, that are resistance, that are progressing over time, that the body has to adapt to in order for the shoulder to be able to withstand the stress of punching and landing. So creating the force that we use to punch, and then the force of the punch actually landing. Not just that, but a spike above the net, a catch and a pull in the swim, or above head as we throw, even underhand as we throw. Arm care is really the center of all of these sports because of how many minutes these athletes will miss as a result of the shoulder pain. So not only is there a reduction in playing time because of the injuries, but there's a limit in performance. Can you imagine that 86% of pitchers who pitch year-round with a pitching coach have arm pain? That's ridiculous. That's a leadership problem. And somebody needs to educate these coaches, somebody needs to educate the parents, and then all that information needs to trickle down to athletes, and the athletes need to know that what they've been doing is not working. It is simply not working. It's not warming you up. It's not activating anything. It's not making you stronger. It's literally a waste of your time to touch those bands. A progressive weight program before you throw heavy is more protective, and it helps with performance. And soon there will be resources available to be able to purchase a program, to be able to purchase equipment. And I'm also starting a service where I go to teams and teach teams how to do it. I've done it now 3 times with 3 different teams. The team I'm working with right now is an under 12 softball program, and we're about probably 6 weeks into it now. And I'm coaching the warm-up, the long toss program, and then a couple of homework sessions throughout the week. And there's zero arm care, there's zero shoulder or elbow pain in all 12 athletes. And the distance we've been able to throw is twice as much. And the velocities that we're able to throw with are off the charts. So being able to roll out a program like this team-wide is also available. With all that, I think that's all I have on the update on arm care. I am currently listening to John Mayer. My best friend in the world and I are meeting to see John Mayer. We were big John Mayer fans in college, so it'll be fun to see him and get to a show, one of our favorite artists. So John Mayer is who I've been listening to. And without further ado, that's all I got for today. George, show me those teeth.